Hi, Dr. Montagna here, and we're putting together a video on abdominal massage. There's a lot of reasons why this needs to be done. Hormonal dysfunctions are really tied into the gut. Whenever there's any kind of gut problems at all, we commonly find the gut in spasm, and it needs to be calmed down and relaxed. And with that, we get hormonal normalization, the adrenals calm down, the gut relaxes, the gut function starts to increase. And this needs to be done in several different stages. So it's really important to look at the anatomy so we understand what we're doing, because you don't want to compress tissues that are really tender and can be irritated quite a bit. So right here is the bottom of the rib cage. It typically rounds off on the edges right in there. Across from the middle and down onto the right side, this is the liver right in here. Just real close to the midline, the liver is the gallbladder. It sticks down. We'll get another picture of that a little bit better. On the left side, the stomach comes down. And the stomach, it pierces the diaphragm just a little bit to the left side, wraps around more like this. Commonly, that needs to be pulled down, and we'll go over that also in this video. The colon starts off on the exit side. It's down right along the edge of the pelvis, just inside the edge of the pelvis. Starts on the left side way down the bottom. Typically comes up along the outside over here. There's a lot of variations in where this can be, and the guts move around a lot. Classically, it comes underneath the diaphragm here, but it's behind all the organs. So we've got to pull the stomach down, pull the small intestines down to get to the colon. Comes off in here. Down here, the large part, this is the ileocecal valve where the small intestine meets the large. Whenever there's digestive problems, gallbladder issues, a lot of stress issues, this will be in a lot of spasm. The ileocecal valve and the valve of Houston is on the left side over there. Those can both become quite irritated and start to develop adhesions to the inside of the pelvic wall. So you get your fingers in between those to pull those out, and it takes some gentle oscillating movements to be able to do that. So you always want to start off with abdominal massage down and around the ileocecal valve. Clear that out, get it relaxed so it's soft, so it moves supplely away from the pelvic wall in here. Then we come over to the valve of Houston, start there, and we work backwards. And the reason why you work backwards, as it relaxes, the contents of the gut are going to typically move forward, and moving forward means it's going to head down toward the exit side. So you always want to start from the exit side and relax things up toward where the stomach is. So you start off down here at the valve of Houston, just gentle oscillating movements as you come around, come all the way to here. Once that's cleared out, then you come and you work through the intestines to clear those out. But we got to look at a couple other anatomy issues also with the on the inside so we can see. Okay, this is looking up underneath the liver right here. It's separated in the middle by a ligament. It's called the coronary ligament. Gallbladder comes really close to the middle, right along the side in there. And then the common bile duct, it comes right off the center also. And the common bile duct is really a tight band. It feels very much like a guitar string. That commonly needs to be relaxed and massaged out also. Then we look at this side. Then we look at this side right in here. It shows where the kidneys are. The kidneys are just below the diaphragm, but all the way in the back. You can feel these pretty well. Kidneys are really tender, so you got to be really gentle around the kidneys. Just above the kidneys are the adrenal glands. Usually can't get up as high up into the adrenal glands because you're running into other tissues. The liver holds over this, and usually you can't feel the top part of the right kidney. The stomach is over the left kidney, and you got to move that out of the way. The pancreas is real soft and tender. It comes across midline from the left side, hooks down around like that. That's another one that you don't want to get with a lot of aggressive massage techniques or pressures on. So with this understanding of the anatomy and what we're going to do, then we'll jump into what that looks like and show you how to do that. You're going to want to do this whenever there's gut spasm, commonly when you start to do some gut work, addressing dysbiosis issues, SIBO issues, leaky gut issues. This is a common therapy that has to be done in conjunction with those things. And when we're working with people distantly, we're not going to be able to do that personally. So I'm putting this video together so people can do this on their own. The health benefits of this are absolutely phenomenal. In minutes, you can take somebody whose hormones are really raging quite a bit and their emotional state is really unstable. This can change that in a matter of minutes. It's phenomenal what this does. So now we'll jump into the application side and finish this off. Okay, I'm going to lift this up a little bit so we can see a little bit better and go over what we need to check out the abdomen, because so much is involved with this. First of all, here's a rib cage that comes across right through here. This rib cage comes off right through there. Below the rib cage, on the left side, the pancreas. You can feel it just gently coming across here, and just past the midline, it rounds and makes a head. Underneath the rib on this side, on the right side, is gallbladder. Just underneath the rib, there's a point that sticks down right here called the xiphoid process. Just below that in the center, it's a really tight band that comes down. That's your common bile duct that comes down through there. Stomach is right underneath the ribs on the left side. Liver's underneath the rib on the right side. Underneath the liver, tucked up right underneath it, is a kidney on the right, and the kidney on the left typically is a little bit higher because the stomach doesn't push it down. Colon usually goes along the outside like this. That can vary quite a bit, and small intestines are down in the middle. So what we do is we lift up a leg, and that relaxes the abdomen, and we start off on the right side, right inside the pelvis, and we feel down through here to see where the colon is. It's common for there to get adhesions in here, and it'll be really tight when there's adhesions. So we need to clear those out. You try and get between the colon wall and the pelvic wall, and just gently oscillate to separate those. Is that tight?
Mm-hmm.
Well, usually they can feel when it is tight, and we do some just gentle oscillations to try and separate that. A little bit of massage going back and forth, up and down, just to try and separate these. Ileocecal valve spasm is commonly associated with gallbladder dysfunction, digestive dysfunction, and just general gut irritation. That's where the small intestine empties into the large intestine. And when there's any irritation going on in the gut, this will be in spasm. It has to be relaxed to work freely. This is also one of the main places where SIBO starts. SIBO is when bacterial contents actually come up backwards out of the colon and get in the small intestine. That can't happen if the ileocecal valve is closing properly and if the gut function is functioning properly. Typically, if there's a high fiber diet, transit time is such that that doesn't happen. And for this sake, I'll reach across. The valve of Houston holds all the contents of the colon up above the rectum. Once it hits the rectum, you get the urge to have a bowel movement. So the valve of Houston needs to be relaxed for that to work properly also. So we get in between the pelvic wall and the valve of Houston, and we gently do the same thing. Notice I got two hands doing this with my fingertips together. The reason why, if you just used one finger, it hurt way too much. We try and distribute the pressure over as broad an area as we possibly can to make things relax. So we're working in between the pelvic wall and the valve of Houston here to loosen that up. Once we get that loose, you go backwards up the colon. You start the valve of Houston, gentle oscillating movements to relax the colon. And you start from the exit side. That way, as you relax it, it can move down so it can exit into the toilet. If you start at the other end, you can just impact the colon. So you always start backwards. We're going up. This is the descending colon here. We're going up backwards with just gentle oscillating movements. Comfortable? Mm-hmm. It's important to ask that question because we're working on people and they need to be comfortable in doing this. So it's not an issue of overpowering something. We're gently trying to take a spasmed organ and get it to relax. So the colon's always first because it's where everything concentrates and it's where it leaves the body. So we got to make it so it can leave the body in a relaxed manner. Then we come across the transverse. Transverse colon commonly tucks right up underneath the rib cage, which means you got to work in behind the stomach. As you get to the middle, if that common bile duct is real tight, you commonly have to stretch that down toward the feet and massage that to get it to calm down too. So we're getting right into that area, and the bile duct is starting to relax already just from working on the colon. When apply, it's tight. Is that very sore?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, broad contacts, just gently working it down, oscillating manner to do that. Tuck up underneath and behind the gallbladder. Still working on the transverse colon. And you got to be careful in this area because the kidneys get real tender, so you don't really want to bear down a lot. You just gently work the transverse colon to the point where it starts to relax. It's real common for it to be in the biggest spasm right underneath the liver, which is the right side just underneath the rib cage. But as it relaxes, the pain starts to ease off, and that's doing better now, right?
Mm-hmm.
got the ascending colon coming backwards. And it'll go into spasm if anybody's got around anything toxic also, or if they're eating any foods that they're intolerant to. It'll always make the gut go into spasm, especially when it hits the colon, because that's when it starts to concentrate. It gets watered down and spread out in the small intestine, and the water gets pulled out in the colon, which makes it get irritated. And when it gets irritated, it's only got a couple ways to respond. It'll either get spastic and get everything out, or it'll start to spasm and hold everything there, or it'll produce a whole bunch more mucus to try and protect the colon wall and try and get it out. So once we get the colon, then the spinal column's right here. You can actually reach through the abdomen and touch the front side of the spinal column and go down the side. It kind of rolls off to the side. You've got to get all the small intestines relaxed in there too. They're usually not as spasmed as the colon is, unless someone has just had some foods that they're really intolerant to. Got to be careful not to get right on top of the kidneys here. Once you get up close to the rib cage, you can feel those. You just work your way around them gently. You can do some gentle massage over the top for the small intestine, but as soon as the small intestine relaxes, it moves right off of the kidneys. And the kidneys are extremely tender, so you have to be careful. Now, this is a lot of spasm underneath the stomach right here. And it's just below the kidney on the left side. You can work your way right alongside the spine. There's a muscle alongside the spine called the psoas muscle. It's what brings the legs forward. That'll go into spasm along with the gut, and can be the source of a lot of back pain also. So it's good to get in there, and you work that up toward the heart. Whenever you work any muscles, you want to work them toward the heart. Otherwise, you're going against the blood flow, and that can create some problems. So as everything relaxes, the pain eases off quite a bit. Then, if we get in the front, right in here, you can see where the pelvis rounds right there. If we go right in between those, the ovaries will be just inside of both of those. The pubic bone is down here. You don't want to get right on top of the pubic bone, but you can work from the side and come in here. The bladder is in front of the uterus on a female. It's always nice to be gentle with this, or better yet, to have them empty their bladder before you do any of this kind of work. Because the intestines will wrap around behind the reproductive organs. So it's important to get down here in the bottom part of the pelvis too. Make sure that's all nice and relaxed. As we do this, this can really change the hormonal response throughout the entire body, because it's the gut that determines whether we're going to excrete or recycle or hormones that we've been trying to process. And it's actually the flora that's in the gut has a lot to do with that, which it wants everything to be relaxed. And while we're here, I'm going to show how to adjust the stomach down. The stomach is on the left side, just below the ribs, right here. My thumb is right at the center line. Stomach is right here. We're going to get about this far off. If I reach over with my left thumb on top of her rib cage and hold my right hand over the top of that. If we slip off of the rib cage and turn the hand out like that, as I did that, that put a lot of traction in her stomach and a lot of gas just released as I did that. If we do some gentle thrusts down toward the feet, you can relieve hiatal hernias a lot. So you put your thumb up on the rib cage, support it with the other hand, slide it off and kind of roll your hands out like this to traction the stomach, and gently push down toward the feet. And that'll take care of a lot of your gut issues.